I never thought the man reporting the storm would become the calm I'd been searching for until the night we were trapped together while the city drowned. That's how I'd start the story if I were telling it to someone else, though living it felt far messier and far more terrifying than poetic. My name is Ilara, owner of Bayou Bean, a tiny cafe tucked between two iron balcony buildings in New Orleans. I've lived through enough hurricane seasons to know how the city breathes when a storm is coming. The wind shifts, the air thickens. People get louder or quieter, never in between. But nothing prepared me for the morning he walked into my life. It started the day a tropical storm crawled toward the Gulf. I was wiping down tables when a man in a rain jacket stepped inside, shaking droplets from his hair. Tall, sharp-jawed, warm eyes even though the weather behind him was turning wild. A camera crew hovered outside the window like nervous pigeons. He smiled first. "Hi, I'm Noah Renner, Channel 7 meteorologist. Mind if I film a quick segment right outside your shop?" Meteorologist. Of course. I knew his face. He was the guy every aunt in Louisiana watched at 6 p.m. "Sure," I said, pretending not to stare too long. "Just don't block my door." Again. He laughed, cheeks coloring like he wasn't used to being teased. He filmed the segment right in front of my windows. Every so often, he glanced back, like I steadied him more than the tripod holding his equipment. A silly thought, but it stuck with me. After the broadcast, he returned for coffee. And then the next day. And the next. Always saying it was for caffeine. But his eyes always found me first, not the menu. He liked his coffee black, but sweetened with a little cinnamon, I added without asking. He liked the old jazz vinyls I played during cleanup. He liked talking about storms the way some people talked about novels, like they were characters with moods and tempers. And he listened when I talked about my cafe, my grandma who left it to me, and the fear I never admitted, that hurricanes could take away everything we built in a single night. Still, I never called what grew between us something. I didn't want to read too deep into coffee orders and soft smiles, but the night everything changed. The storm was no longer gentle. It had become a monster. The city issued evacuation warnings by noon. I stayed late anyway, securing the cafe, stacking sandbags, letting the jazz radio fill the rooms that suddenly felt haunted by wind. That's when the door burst open. Noah, hair soaked, shirt clinging to him, breath uneven. "Ilara, why are you still here? The levees might overflow." "I needed to close up," I said. "And I thought you'd be too busy to, stop by." He stepped closer, shaking his head. "I've been looking for you for the last hour." Before I could respond, the sky cracked open with thunder. Rain hammered the street so hard it bounced. The storm was officially here. "You can't go out in that," I whispered, "and you can't stay alone." The power flickered, twice. Then darkness claimed half the block. He locked the doors, guided me behind the counter with a flashlight, and we sat on the floor as wind roared like it wanted to tear the walls apart. He kept checking the radar on his phone. I kept pretending I wasn't terrified. When a transformer blew down the street, lighting up the sky in eerie blue, I flinched. Without thinking, I grabbed his arm. He didn't pull away. Instead, he whispered, "Hey, I've got you." I wasn't sure if he meant physically or emotionally, maybe both, but it was enough to steady my shaking breath. Hours passed. Wind howled, rain scraped the windows, but we talked. About fear, about childhood, about how we loved storms because they were honest. They told you when they were coming, unlike people. And I told him the truth I'd never said aloud. "I'm scared to love someone who can leave as quickly as a storm." Silence. Then his hand found mine. "Ilara, I don't want to be a storm in your life. I want to stay." My chest tightened in a way I'd never felt before, equal parts terror and hope. When dawn finally slipped through the clouds, the storm weakened. Boats floated in the flooded street, branches scattered the sidewalks, but my cafe still stood, and Noah hadn't left my side. We stepped outside together, boots splashing in the water, morning light glittering on the puddles. He looked at me like I was something worth staying for. And I realized something too. Sometimes the fiercest storms bring the calmest